And good morning, everybody out there in SWGOH YouTube land. I am Finity, your loser of crazy excuses' wager, and apparently being punished by Ranger and pulling double duty today and managing Jedi Academy and gathering your questions here. But luckily, I'm not alone. I have a great panel of people in order to help me answer those questions. So let's go ahead and start going and introducing the crew, starting with Mr. Warrior. Good morning, Warrior.
What is happening? What is going on?
Warrior, I know this is early for you. How's the coffee coming along?
I forgot I had it, so I better go drink some.
And
It's sitting next to me, but I'm sitting in the corner of a room in my house, staring at a wall, waiting for this call to start. And I forgot that there was coffee sitting next to me. So it's one of those mornings.
yeah, well, I can't blame you. It's really early out where you are. So, but we
Well,
appreciate you
it,
coming on and answering questions.
it's 8 o'clock, so it's not horrible. It's just I am terrible, and I always stay up way, 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 way later than I should.
uh, I can. That's probably why Ranger's not here because he's been doing 7, 8 hour Battlefront streams. So I'm sure that's not helping his sleep schedule at all. All right. Uh, Next, we can go to Mr. Mike Hunt, who is our resident Turbs translator, but with no Turbs here. Mike, what are you going to do today?
Um, well, I'm practicing my Belgium dips at the moment. I know it's wrong franchise, but yeah, I'm enjoying my frothy coffee. So is my nose, apparently. I don't know. I'll just throw a load of questions into the chat. There you go. That's what I'll do.
I think I'm out of touch with the coffee world. You said Belgian dips, and my first thought was Mike is doing yoga. What the hell kind of position is that?
No, it's when your nose gets frothed by the foam in the cup.
That's adorable.
And that voice that you just heard was Miss T Money. How are you doing today, Miss T Money, who is actually on time, unlike Ranger?
I was, and I'm enjoying this teasing Ranger about being late because he traditionally gives me a hard time about it. But yeah, I'm doing great.
Oh, we
beautiful
will
day.
Give him a hard time. Don't worry. Many a hard time. And lastly, our friend from Korea, who's getting ready to return to the U.S. soon, right? Mr. King Felix.
That is correct. Just about 3 or 4 more weeks, and it won't be 11 o'clock at night when I do these streams with y'all.
Well, everyone's here to answer your questions, so if you guys have questions, go ahead and pop them into the YouTube chat. I will be collecting them for the panel here. But before we get to the questions, let's just kind of go around here. We'll go in the same order as the introduction, so we'll start with Warrior. What did you think of the dev interviews that have been going out, and they gave some information about the bounty hunters and the AMA yesterday?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm glad that the communication's increasing. I am a part, I believe, of those interviews. They had scheduled some of us for this week and then some of us for next week. So in theory, next week I have some dev interviews to answer a number of questions. Basically, they have this massive spreadsheet of questions that the community has asked over the last few years that are still relevant, and they're trying to get to every one of those questions. And so they've got a massive spreadsheet collecting, and they just want to basically get to them, but they're allowing us to kind of ask those questions. So I mean, I'm glad about that, and you know, it's we know bounty hunters are coming out, and so that's exciting. I know a lot of people that are, were frustrated that nobody got to know about the bounty hunters until it already came out as far as game changers go, but I honestly don't care. Arnold is the largest YouTuber for the game, so for him to get a nice exclusive like that was awesome. I was super excited for him. And it was kind of cool seeing one of my friends' ugly mugs inside of the game. That was kind of cool seeing that pop up. So I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, that unfortunately for Arnold, that image is getting like memed everywhere.
Yeah, it's going to happen, sadly. But yeah, the payoff confirmed one. That was pretty funny. But no, I was excited about that. But I know that for a lot of other people, a lot of other game changers, it was like that's how we found out that there was a Bounty Hunter rework. Was an in-game pop-up of a fellow brethren, and we were like, "What? What?" We had to go watch his video. We didn't even get communication about it. We were just a little saddened that we'd at least, normally we get communication, they say so and so is going to cover it or whatever, but this one was just like, no, you'll find out through YouTube like everyone else. It was kind of like, okay, all right. So it's all right, but I was super happy for him, and obviously I think they're going to try to rotate things like that. And I was put on week 2, so obviously I've been a little quieter this week than some of the other YouTubers. I could have made a video of the update post, but they didn't get that to us until like 10 o'clock at night, and I was already done with the night and going to bed. And the next day, the post had twice as much information in it. So had I made a video, it would have been a half complete video anyway. So I was glad I didn't.
Right. What about you, Miss T Money? What did you think of the AMA yesterday and their answering of questions and the overall dev involvement in the community?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I'm a very suspicious person, but as time goes on and each of these posts come out, to see the specificity around just the timing of things coming out, the honesty around it. It's like, okay, so the next that when we release a legendary event, we're only going to give you a week's notice, and we're going to say that's because it's nice to surprise you, but really that's because that's when our bread and butter comes in. And so just tell us, right? Just tell us that's what's happening, that's what's going on, and then we can plan around it or not. But so yeah, I'm enjoying just the honesty about what's going on, and the accountability. I think that we talked last week, and we had a great piece to say about the new Marvel game and how that's going to impact them and how it's going to impact us, and it's going to be positive, right? Like there's a lot of folks in my guild who are playing it, and I'm appreciating all of the work that CG is doing in order to retain players right now, and in order to to kind of get the groove more positive, because I like this game. I'm not going to be playing Marvel Strike Force. I still don't really know the name of it anytime soon. And I love this game. I love my guild, and I'd like to keep them all happy and healthy. So yeah, I'm very stoked about it.
I mean, honestly, from my perspective, if there was two games very similar in concept, like Star Wars and Marvel Strike Force are, and I had to pick at the time, I probably would have picked Marvel just because it was more current, like when this game first started with all the Avenger movies and all the X-Men and stuff that were coming out. But now I can't see myself moving to another game that's that similar, especially given all the time invested into Galaxy of Heroes at this point. Starting over just seems like a major task. So I'm with you.
You're a damn liar, Finn. You pick up poo and play Pixar.
That's not a game similar to Galaxy of Heroes, Mr. Tardy Pants.
Mr. Tardy Pants, I like that. Can we get one of those? Can we get that on a RSG T-shirt?
Yes.
Stands to be my greatest achievement so far.
So, Mike, we need you to do a different type of translation today. We need you to be Ranger's BS translator. So, Ranger, why were you late today?
Because I slept in and my alarm didn't go off, and I'm tired because I've been streaming all week, Mister Butthole.
Mike, what was the translation?
I couldn't be asked.
What?
Mike is like the worst translator ever. Okay.
Yeah, where's Turbs?
Turbs is dealing with some stuff, so he's not able to join us today.
Oh, what?
But then Mr. King Felix,
yes.
One of the things that I don't know if it was necessarily a big negative, but the last AMA prior to this one was kind of just on the spur of the moment because of stuff going on with the community. This time they gave us a lot of notice ahead of time, and I know it was done at a time that's like in the middle of the night for you. So especially since you're in Korea and the time and all that, did you prepare any differently for this AMA? Like, did you try to stay up, and did you just appreciate the notice more, or what did you think of the AMA?
So I definitely didn't stay up for it. The questions, or most of the stuff that I want to bring up, has either been answered or other people in my guild or arena shard are already asking those questions. So I didn't really have anything to stay up for. My biggest things were the arena refreshing, which they already took care of, and I love it. And then them hopefully taking a look at my fleet arena shard, which is god awful, which we got a response back from CG Carey earlier today that they were going to take a look into it. And we've been sending her all of our ally codes, which is about 100 ally codes that she's going to receive in the next, few hours. So I didn't stay up for it. I just read through, see what they're talking about. I liked the notice. It's good for people in the correct side of the world so that they can have some prep time. But the more communication, the better. So my hat's off. They're doing a good job. And bring on the Bosk.
So I think that moves us nicely to Mike. So Mike, what were your overall thoughts of this week, and in particular the bounty hunter reworks?
I'm excited about the bounty hunters. I've kind of geared most of mine to 11. Only I think Boba's 12. And yeah, they sort out the two Wampers in the Dark Side territory battle, but that's about it. And it's always been frustrating that bounty hunters aren't, aren't viable in other areas. So no, I'm stoked about it. Looking forward to it.
All right.
Will they get ships?
And then Ranger, I know we discussed this a little bit on Wednesday, but do you want to give your thoughts on the week and then take over moderating?
No.
Okay.
You're very mean to me, Finn. You do all the work.
You're the one that's late. You make fun of T-Money all the time for being late, and now you're late, so we get to make fun
of out of 100 and gajillion shows, one time, and you're giving the third degree, Finn?
That's because it's the easiest to point out.
Is this the first time you've ever been late?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really
pretty incredible.
It's much easier to point to the one time you're late than like the 50 times T-Money was late. So it's just easier to make fun of you.
50?
I mean, yeah, I
Good start, Ranger.
50 times, Jesus. I don't think it's been that much, Finn.
Words.
Words matter, I mean, I think we've discussed all the changes and stuff. So there's nothing really I need to add to it. They're going in the right direction. We talked about this on everyone's stream this week, so I'm pretty stoked about everything. And yes, I can take over moderating if you just put the chat in. I know you want to just be Mr. Antisocial.
Yeah, I'll put it in the stream questions. I'll get
I got it. Yes. One time I'm late. Finn's been late before, and I never gave him this hard of a time. But you know what? That's fine. That's fine. I'll remember this. Have you got your song yet picked out that you have to sing on?
It's a surprise for everyone. I figured it out. I figured out what's happening with Crazy, but it'll be a surprise for everyone. So for those of you guys that don't know what happened, our guild, the RSG Psy Guild, faced Crazy Excuses' guild, the Junkyard. It's just Junkyard. So we were facing them in Territory War, and as a result, we lost, and the friendly wager was the loser had to go onto the winner's YouTube and make a video singing karaoke. So of the song of the winner's choice. So I am working with Crazy. A decision has been made, and we will be. I will be singing something. So you guys will.
Is it Dancing Queen? It's Dancing Queen, isn't it?
You'll
I hope it's something Bollywood.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
I'm gonna start working on it next week to get it all together. So.
Finn's gonna sing him a country western song.
Oh.
All right.
Great.
So we have questions coming in, Ranger. So I'm putting them.
Yeah, I think the first one is Finn. What song are you going to sing? I think we've already addressed that one. Okay, so we'll go back. We'll keep asking that one. We'll see if we can get any information out of Finn. We'll pester him about it. All right, let's start. Let's see. Bad Rongo. Let's see. He has a question. Let's start with Warrior. I always just have the name of the list and go down. Warrior. Let's see. The question is, what's the minimum gear level for the Viagra twins again to unlock JTR?
Probably Gear 8, because they're both more durable than traditional characters. They have a little bit more health and protection base than most of the characters that have come out within the last 6 months. They're actually really pretty durable. So Gear 8 minimum with decent mods. Otherwise, I would just safely go to Gear 9 and leave them there. But my philosophy, obviously, is like economy of motion, right? Like if you're going to do something, do it efficiently. If you're going to spend all this time, energy, effort, literal time in the game, literal energy in the game, then you shouldn't even put any energy into a character unless you're going to use them. And I know people are like, well, I don't want to use them for anything but the JTR event, but they are viable, very viable in territory wars, battles, and obviously you get JTR. And I don't know why, if you're going to waste all that time into them, to not just finish them off. When I say finish them off, I mean if you're completely free to play, you're going Gear 9. And if you're not completely free to play, you'll just get them up to Gear 11. You won't regret it. You'll use them. You'll find yourself in a territory war where you need some stunning and some ability blocking, and you won't have any characters, and you'll scroll down your list, and you'll see near the bottom these two doofuses, and you'll go, I heard Warrior in a stream say something about they work all right together. You know what? I got 2 open slots. I'm going to go ahead and toss them in, and then you're going to win that battle and go, okay, so their kits are okay. They're pretty good. And then you use them in territory war or battles, and you'll go, I see. These guys are designed for this. So, for me, I would take them up to Gear 11 unless you're free to play Gear 9. That's for everybody, regardless of the event.
I can just see it now. Someone's going to come back here next week and say, Warrior, I used them against Gear 12 Emperor Palpatine team. You were wrong. You were wrong.
That will happen because people don't take anything in context anymore. But yeah.
You said they could be work, and I tried them against the JTR team. You were wrong. Oh, goodness. All right, next question from Most Def Isley. We're going to go to our Canadian friend up north, the maple syrup. And he wants to know, did folks catch the AMA? What was your favorite question? My best Q&A question was, Porkins coming to the game? Answer, no.
What was his favorite question? Who's coming to the game?
Is Porkins coming into the game?
Porkins coming to the game.
No.
I haven't caught the AMA yet. I'm sorry, I haven't. So that's my answer. I'm giving some shitty answers.
I didn't catch it. I didn't. I'm the same thing. I didn't catch it. Anybody else that saw that, or any question that stood out to them or anything?
For me, the AMA, I'm like, it's being done. I'm glad. I kind of know the answers to everything.
That's right.
I'm kind of assuming all of the answers to everything. And yeah, I don't really have a lot of questions about the game right now. It's just, are you taking care of the game? Are you dealing with things? Are you like managing it appropriately? And I think the answer is yes. And then the rest of it, it'll just come as it comes.
Yeah. Hey, here's a fun fact that I learned yesterday for the first time. Porkins was in Indiana Jones.
Like as Porkins?
No, he was at the beginning when they're Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the 2 government guys come to tell him about the Nazis and stuff, and he's in the end of the film too. That's Porkins, the big fat guy.
Is it?
Yeah, that's Porkins.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that. I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, there's 2 guys, 2 government guys talking to Indy about the
Professor
the Lost Ark. Yeah, and the guy on the right, the big fatty, that's Porkins.
That's funny. Well, you know how producing and directors like to work with the same people.
Of course. But I didn't make the correlation, like, Porkins, you did live. All right, next question to Mike. This is from our good friend Zalo Takedown. Check out his channel. Oh, I said he wants to. Hold on, Mike. This one's for Warrior. So I'll go to. I'll give you the next one, Mike. Question for Warrior. Do you know anything about the new bounty hunter contracts?
I know nothing, but I know everything because I'm Warrior. they
And he
they
prays
have told me.
strong.
They have told me absolutely nothing. I had zero communication. In fact, I learned everything I know from Arnold T101 on YouTube. But for real, I don't know anything. But I can tell you, I already know what the concept is, and I know what they're trying to do with it. So they want to make this team a team that you can plug in kind of like the Ewoks. So the Ewoks are really good PvE, not as good PvP, but they can basically, you can swap leader like Tebow, and all of a sudden the team's got viability against certain teams, or you could put in Chirpa, and it's another really good team in another way. But they want to make it now where every single character in the faction, this will be the first time they've ever done this, where every character in the faction is going to have a leadership ability, and they're all going to have a unique ability. Basically, they're calling them contracts, that get fulfilled when they're the leader. So if this person's the leader, then this is what happens. If that person's the leader, then this is what happens. And so it's going to be this unique dynamic where, if you're going against phase 1 of a raid, you would put in, Greedo as a leader. If you're in phase 3, let's say, maybe you'll have to put in Boba Fett, because it will make more sense, because they're going to give these contracts or these abilities that are going to be shared amongst everybody based on the leader, and the leader is each going to have a different strength. And from what it sounds like from the communication and the video, is that they're going to try to make sure that it's balanced and that it's good for like lots of different phases of different raids and stuff. And so for anybody who loves the Resistance, the original OG Resistance team that does really well in Hat, this is going to be probably something similar to that, but just a team that's more pliable, that can go into any phase of any raid, and somebody will be a good leader for that phase of that raid. So they'll be kind of that one-size-fits-all team for the future for anybody. So they're probably going to become really viable, because players that are starting out can access almost all these characters. Other than Zam, most of them are like really, really, really easy to get first day one, like Greedo and stuff. And people are like, well, they suck. Well, if they become the best PvE team, or one of the better PvE teams, then that's actually going to change, and that will become characters that people will really need to focus on, so they can kind of immediately start to contribute to raids, especially if they're built that way. And like I said, each contract, or each ability will be different, and will have a strength to go against this particular raid. I could imagine they're going to be one that has a leadership ability that basically allows for armor penetration and health regeneration. You know what I mean? And you'll go, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's phase 1 leader for Sith. And we'll all put 2 and 2 together. So I think they'll be great. I don't think anyone's going to take their Gear 12 guys and put them in arena and have massive success with it, though. I think that you need to understand what they're being built for and why, and then you'll appreciate what they're doing with the faction. But I am interested with Boss to see how his interactions will be, and that he's a taunting tank, so that's pretty cool. So,
All right. Next question from Mike here. This is from our good friend Luke Thyrocker. Question: when can I insert First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter pilot into the crew squad? What gear level, etc.?
Obviously he's got crew. I'm guessing he's got shiny white suit, fast as well. Both of which are tanks, taunting. So I would have thought gear 10 he could probably be looking at. I think anything below that, and he's just gonna get obliterated. But yeah, I would go gear 10. Gear 10. That's my final offer. Yes.
All right, and then when we get someone who uses them against the Emperor Palpatine team's like, Mike, you said Gear 10 would work, and I
Yeah,
lost.
well, I mean, he's a work in progress anyway. He's not going to
I know.
stop at 10.
No,
But,
Gear 10 would be, I think it's where you want.
Yeah, I would have thought that would have, and also, of course, it might even be able. I still have yet to really try out the ship, but
I've
it'll
been
bump
kind
that
of.
up
I
as
used it
well.
in the last Territory Wars. It's pretty decent. You know that AOE removes turn meter and all that stuff. It's not a bad ship. You know, it's really not.
If they
I'm
ever,
It's not as good as some of the others.
if they ever give a First Order capital ship, he's gonna be amazing. But
I mean,
Oh,
I'm saying.
don't tease me.
We'll see.
I'm trying to start saving up ship credits again because I think I'm with the 99% that have blown nearly all of them or all of them
that's
in the
me.
mod store.
Down to 2 million.
Oh mate, I think I know that mine was well in excess of 100 million, and I'm down. I've built back up to 10, so yeah, I spent a lot in there.
Okay. Next question for King Felix. This is from Emperor Moogle. Question: I'm finally working on my first order. I was wondering what the required Zetas are and in what order.
So, Kylo Ren Mask leader ability, number one by like far and away number one, and then I'm gonna go with First Order Stormtroopers unique because I love that Zeta. You can make an argument for Crew's second Zeta, the Scarred, which gives him the auto taunt, or OG Kylo Ren works very well on. He's better on offense, but he works good on defense as well. First Order Stormtrooper is unique, is amazing. You get the extra, I think it's extra, let's see, extra call to assist. There's less of a damage penalty, and then it grants advantage to the First Order ally. And you can really make that team work for Dark Side Territory battles and Territory War with just those two Zetas. And if you put the third on OG Kylo, then the team really starts to move. You don't need Phasma's lead.
What about First Order or TIE Fighter pilot?
So, I'm tempted. I have a Zeta right now, and I'm tempted to put that on him too. I would say that would be. I'm still putting that as the fourth Zeta. I think it's only if you are struggling in fleet. If you're struggling in fleet, if you put that Zeta on your First Order TIE pilot, your First Order TIE fighter is going to hit even harder, and it's going to just start crushing people with one shot. So it's a decent Zeta. It pretty much just gives him Imperial TIE fighters unique with the Foresight, but it's not a bad Zeta. If you're going all in on First Order to make that faction very powerful, it's not a waste of a Zeta. It's not like Zetaing Chewie or anything like that. So you're not going to be disappointed. But I think I would only do that Zeta is if your fleet needs some help.
Yeah, T-Money, you Zetaed First Order TIE Fighter pilot, didn't you?
I did, and I'm not regretting it. I'm really focusing on how to mod that team right now for Territory Wars, and have had a bunch of revelations. I've asked some of my shardmates, one of my guildies shardmates, to put in his First Order team modded certain ways in our shard, and taken resistance up against it as per Warriors coaching last week, and had some failure, which was great because then I figured out exactly, failure, the greatest teacher is. Figured out exactly what I needed to do, how we needed to mod the First Order team, and also how we needed to mod resistance to take down a really well modded First Order team. So it's really exciting, and I think just the First Order, he didn't have his First Order TIE pilot Zated, but it's just going to give that extra oomph, like that extra hit to another team, and really what First Order is about. From this experience is it's basically like it's like a Barris team, right? You're trying to take down crew but he's acting like Barris. He's regaining health. He's he's taunting and regaining health if you're not hitting him hard enough, and then you just need that crew around him to demolish the opposing side. So that just helps to do it a little bit faster.
All right. Okay, back to the Dr. Warrior. This is from Mole Kenobi. And he said, shout out Warrior Patreon's question, smiley face, and he says, question, any idea on the requirements for the new Bounty Hunter content and reworks? Do we think we need the rest of the Bounty Hunters up to what level?
Hey, what's up, Mal Kenobi? I actually did his roster review just this last week, so we'll check that out. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway,
no, check it out. Seriously, no, you should check that out.
He's got a good point, and I mentioned this last week on the stream that they're bringing out, and they're bringing out one character marquee. When's the last time you saw them bring a single character out? Just one in a month.
Well, back in my day,
they always do. They always do three. They always do three characters for rework. They've mentioned that they're going to do like 4 reworks plus a new character. So they could just stick with that and not add other characters. But normally there's 2 or 3 characters to an addition and or the reworks. They did say the reworks were like the originals. So you're talking about Greedo, you're talking about Boba Fett, you're talking about IG-88, and then of course Bosk, and I think there's one more that I'm missing, but off the top of my head. But anyway, so those characters might be worth focusing on and reinvesting in. But truth be told, I would say wait, because we want to see what they're actually doing and whether these contract things are going to work or fall flat, and whether these leadership abilities are going to really work well and stuff. And my guess is it's all going to end up playing out really well. Kind of like Holdo, everyone's like, she's trash, don't go with her, and nobody bought her. I mean, there's only it was one of the lowest purchase rates they've had, in the past. And Holdo is like, I use her at 3 stars in Territory Wars, and I'm like, oh my God, she's amazing. She's awesome. She's awesome on a secondary resistance team, like amazing. But anyway, so yeah, I think they're going to be all right. But the ones that are getting reworked, I would say, are considerable. You might want to look into them. And then of course Bosk, and he will definitely be viable at 3 stars, which will be the unlock. And then the pack for $10 will get him to 4 stars. It used to be that way. It stopped being that way. And they mentioned in the last communication, the AMA prior to this AMA, that's actually going to go back to the way it is. In the future, all characters at marquee events will unlock at 3, and the pack will actually take you for sure to the 4th star like it used to be. And then you'd have to buy 5, 6, or 7. Well, he's a tank, and we know tanks are extremely viable at a 3-star unlock. So for free to play, Bosk is really good news, except for, this is the catch, they're really designed for PvE, and for most PvE content, Heroic requires 7 stars. So it's kind of a catch-22, so I don't know. I would just kind of wait and see what happens and what it looks like, and I wouldn't go too crazy gearing anybody up yet that's old until you see that their reworks are actually worth their salt.
Are you a warrior? Are you planning on, without seeing his kit yet, obviously, are you planning on getting him to 7-star?
Bosk? No, not at all.
No.
Nope.
What if he's the paywall for Jango Fett?
Well, I don't think Jango Fett will be anytime soon, so I'm not worried about it. I think he'll be farmable. I mean, they're saying that they're going to be committed now to this whole, 6-week pay to play, and then 6-week free, chromiums, and then after that free to play. So I can wait 3 months for this character. I mean, my Holdo is still 3 stars, so I'm not stressed out about that particular character. I'm kind of not getting caught up anymore in the whole, like, I have to have a certain character. Scion was the first character this year, and the only one this year I got crazy on, and the last year was Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum. And Ahsoka happy, but it was, there was some regret because she's awesome, but I could have waited. Definitely could have waited. Scion, I couldn't have waited. In Arena, I was no longer viable. I couldn't even climb into the number 1 spot without some edge, without Scion, because of the interactivity between Scion and Darth Nihilus. I was like having an impossible time killing Darth Nihilus. If anyone's in Arena and they're wondering why the opponent's Darth Nihilus is invincible, like you can hit him with 500,000 damage and not die, it's because of the interactivity now with the 30% stacking health, because Scion's taking debuffs. And a lot of people don't realize that they need to try not to debuff the opponent's Scion. And so, but anyway, yeah, so I realized I have to have Scion. After about 3 days, I realized that. That's why I went all in on him and bought him, and had and had him. But so he was kind of a must-have in Arena, but the rest in the last year weren't. And the only other person I went crazy with, Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum, I could have waited.
All right. Next question for T Money. This is from Philippe oh my lord. Minikishi? I'm guessing that's his name. I'm sorry if I butchered that. This is kind of for around the corner. We're going to start with you, T Money GA. Does your guild try RGT alternative teams in the Sith raid on Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3?
RGT?
Return the Jedi. Yeah, Jedi Training Ray.
Like alternative teams to Jedi Training Ray?
I think like alternative teams, like with RJT, that kind of thing.
Not really. We've got the raid on farm, and we're pretty lazy with it now. Like it's.
How dare you?
I think I did about. I was like, oh, the raid. I think I did about like 800,000 damage last time. So and we got lots of people posting 0. So our guys are really just improving their race scores right now and focusing focusing there. Definitely, gosh, what else in one? I know there's some people doing a lot of theory crafting in one. So what we're doing with our guild right now is because we're finishing the raid in about like 4 hours, we're putting a pause on P1 and P3. So we launch the raid and then we give everybody time to post 0 in P1, but it's also time to practice. So everybody gets to send in stuff, and there's lots of guys theory crafting with different teams. And then in 3 as well, and we'll probably switch that to do a pause in 1 and 4, and just to get everybody kind of able to get in there and practice and do their team. So we're really focused only on JTR teams and just variants of that. I've been throwing in Chopper with Scavenger Ray and the main 3, and that's it's quite RNG dependent, but Chopper can get BB-8's Illuminated Destiny off sometimes, and like before Scion gets his first buff for pain on him. So that's kind of fun, just playing out and fooling around with that. So we've got a bit of a luxury to do things like that right now, but it's mainly JTR. You really, yeah.
Okay. All right. Next question to Mike. Let's see here from Alex. Question: Is anyone else's guild? Has anyone else's guild has? Well, see if I can reword this. It's not worded correctly. Has anyone else's guild suffered from the new Sith raid? Our guild was 80 million plus GP, and in the recent days we lost some core players, and now we're sitting at 71 million GP. So their question, I guess, is anyone else's guild suffered from losses and stuff? Or are you aware of it?
No, I'm aware of it. It took place on the other 2 raids as well. Tank was probably the biggest one, as everyone wanted GK shards as soon as possible, especially when they started appearing, 5-star, and just decimating arenas. It. I don't mean it to sound harsh, but this is an aspect of the game. It's a case of, with guilds, a lot of guilds are used as stepping stones for players. You do get some, after running a guild for a period of time, you do get some very interesting applications. I've got 500k GP and I want to take first spot in each of the raids sort of requests. It's just one of those things. It's not a very good answer, but in my perspective, that's what it is. It's players are going to move around. Guilds move slower than individuals, like nature, I suppose. And it puts more work on your lead and officers to just kind of try and placate and look, let's all work together. We've got a community here. Try that sort of approach to retain your players, but you're always going to have. I remember a player deciding 5 minutes before guild reset that's when they were going to leave to join someone else. It happens. It's just one of the joys of running and being within a guild.
Yeah. All right. Next question to King Felix. Question: What do you want to see from Bosk?
I want to see a stupid high health pool and a taunt that lasts more than one turn. Maybe I'm waiting for a really fast tank too. Like Scion is I think he's the fastest tank, base speed, taunting tank that is. I think I'm not really sure. But there's so many of the tanks are so slow. Like, Baze is 90 base speed. It's terrible. I want him to see pretty fast. I want either him to be fast or him to hit hard as well. But I want to see a taunt that lasts more than a couple turns. I feel like he's probably going to be a 3 ability character with a unique. So. And then I just want him to add something that the bounty hunters don't have, whether it be health recovery, maybe his taunt has a heal like shore troopers, something like that. I want the bounty hunters to be better because of him, not just middle of the road tank like some of the other characters we've gotten.
And then follow-up question from Vito Anto: Did they announce the date that Boss is going to drop? I don't think they did they?
They haven't. Most people think he's going to be towards the end of April, which I'm expecting that as well. He'll probably drop like sometime April 20th and after, I'm guessing. Give him a couple more weeks to make sure all their bases are covered, something like that.
Yeah. All right. Next question from good old Marines. Going back to the top to Warrior question: Is Visas worth the gear at 4 stars to help with palp walls and territory war?
I think she is. She's one of those characters that if she's geared up completely, the star rate matters, but not as much as some other characters. It's because of her kit. It's because of her tool kits. So, if you would mod her with a ton of health mods with a bunch of secondary speed, and if you were to go really crazy and Zeta her, even at the 3 or 4 star rate, she's amazing. But I don't even have the Zeta on her. Just her Omegas are really, really good. Territory Wars is tough because it really depends on whether that team has been primed before you got there, and what tools you're taking in to kill a particular team. You got to think, what's this team's strength and what's their weakness? Like, how do I stop this team from doing what they're trying to do? And then what and I don't find that I use Visas a lot, but she definitely is a constant cleanser. And so for something where, pain and shock are two crippling debuffs, she would definitely help keep the team off. She would keep the team cleaner, but she's also going to naturally speed the other team up. It would almost be like giving them a bunch of turn meter, because she'll be cleansing all that stuff off nonstop, just feeding them all that turn meter they're looking for. And in territory wars, that might be a problem. It just depends on which team you're taking her in with, what other characters. If the team's been primed with turn meter because someone went in and tried to kill the team and couldn't do it, I wouldn't take her in, because an already lightning fast team is going to be even faster, and that's the last thing you need.
All right. All right, next question for Team Money GA. This is from Notorious Draft Knight, and the question is, now that we know CG always pull last-minute cash grabs to end every fiscal quarter on a high note, what do you think the next one will be at the end of June? A Django Legendary event, question mark?
I think that's definitely where we're headed is Django. And I think it's smart. I think it's very smart to just look at when does the quarter end, and be like, you're not going to tell us when these events come. Well, let's just look at your fiscal end, right? So it's pretty predictable. Actually, I'll see if I can and make a little graph or something of that and try and dig some dates up, because that would be kind of funny to look at visually. But I think Django's definitely coming, and if the character release cadence is, as they say, the first time he drops would be, and if Bosk is required for it, then, end of April, May, June, you might give people some time to farm Bosk in the store, and then on we go with Django. So they could justify that as a free to play, as a little bit of free to play time to farm him, if you're like generating crystals in Arena and then buying them in the store. So the timing kind of works for that to possibly happen. Yeah.
Okay. Next question for Mike, and this is from the Revenator, and the question is, any notice that ground war assault battles, which rewards separatist shards, has appeared 2 weeks in a row?
Yes. It does seem to be appearing, very frequently. It's kind of we've got nothing going on at the moment. What we're going to do? Throw one of those in. It's frustrating. I've got an alt account, and it's just not quite good enough yet. The specific tunes for that event. So I can't go in there and go for the pieces. But no, it is frequent.
Can I add that the other suspicious thing is how many credit heists we've had lately? I'm a little bit worried about that. Are we going to level 90, right? Like there was one, and then I think 4 or 5 days later I was like, oh god, no. Please, not another credit heist. Like, when does that happen? When you're like, not another credit heist?
That's going to make this Sith raid very interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, we're like you. We're in the 4-hour mark at the moment, and that with each raid, the time just comes down. And with if it goes up to level 90, I mean, we're going to be entering multiple phase solo squads very, very quickly, which seems a bit of a shame, considering the other raids and how long they took for the community to work on to kind of break down that this Sith raid could be done within months.
I agree, and I also think that that there's so much time in game right now for us that probably a lot of wives and husbands are starting to get pissed. So I think that's part of the management of the game. It's like, here's a new thing, and let's maybe get that on farm for you, because it's probably you're probably getting in trouble for looking at your phone for 5 hours. And,
you get that too.
oh yeah. for my
Mike
kid.
has sweary daughter and sweary wife. It's double that.
I'm like, no, you can't play your tablet.
I
I got Arena. I can't play with you right now.
Oh,
I was
Sweary
never
daughters.
say that. Don't ever say that to your partner. Ever.
Are you kidding me? I
My
was
kid,
FaceTiming
my
my wife
kid.
today. I had to put the FaceTime off so I could do my ship's arena battle today with my wife.
Oh.
Hey, she's in the game too. It's fine. She understands.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay.
I made her start playing.
All right, next question for you specifically, King Felix. This is from Addix Mathma, and the question is, you said there was a problem with your fleet share that CG Carey said she was looking into. What is your problem you were referring to?
So this is and it's happened since Fleet came out. I don't know how they grouped together all the players, because it's definitely not by starting date when you loaded the game. And so my arena shard has the top probably 200 to 300 players in there are all whales. I mean, these are max gear 12 fleets. All the pilots are gear 12. Plenty of Zetas on there. The top 200 have a fleet GP of 450,000, and that wouldn't be a big problem except for that they're all active. So some days I will take rank, 1 or 2, depending on whatever my payout rotation is, and I'll wake up in the hundreds. And I'm talking like just 8 hours of not playing, and you wake up in the hundreds, and it's something kind of crazy. So we had all 80 members of my fleet shard chat PM CG Carey with their ally codes so that she could take a look at it, because it's something that the group has brought attention to several times in the forums. And this was the first time we actually got an answer, and people are hoping that they can get an answer of how they figured out the shard, if they plan on redistributing some of these massive whales that we have, and stuff like that. So it just seems like they grouped a large amount of the whales together into one shard, and it's super active, and that's what we're hoping to get an answer on.
So the shard assignment is pretty much by when you opened your fleet. So as you get to like level 60, you get assigned to anybody that hits level 60 and then opens up your fleet shard that day. For those of us that were already like max level at the time that the fleet arena was there, it's basically whenever it was opened. So as soon as you get opened, you get assigned to a shard, and it does similar to your arena shard, where it's, I don't know the exact number, but like 10,000 people, and it just keeps on building from there. So it's not really done by legacy in terms of where you were when you started the game. It's just done by when you opened your fleet at the time. So you were probably I'm guessing as soon as like fleet came out, you like opened it up, and I'm sure there was a bunch of whales that did the same thing, and you got put on the same shard as them, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm guessing. So you don't think it was done? They didn't do anything GP based, or I mean, I know GP wasn't really a thing back then, but maybe you don't think they did anything power based? Players who had the same.
Because I did this on my my alt account as well, and he's really slow leveled, so like super slow leveled. So he was on his arena shard for a while and just doing whatever it is, and like almost at the bottom, because it was basically just like a fill-in to get 600 if we ever lose somebody. So there was really nothing going on there. And then when I got into fleet, I got matched with people that were really active, but in a shorter amount of time. So they basically just hit the fleet at the same time as I did. Everyone was nearly the same level and all that, even though I started much, much earlier. So there was like no correlation at all between my fleet arena and my squad arena. Like everything was different. So it seems like they're just filling it up based on whenever you open up your fleet arena itself. But it just becomes worse at the beginning, because when everybody is at the same level and you open it up, you're just opening yourself up to having a really competitive fleet if you're one of like the first people to open it up. And then
so you would be better off to have waited like a day before you opened your game up to load the fleet.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes.
I know that's what good old Maurice did, and he's on like this lovely, gentle shard, like really quite easy. So And you can do that too if you're a brand new player and you haven't gone to a place where you're at, what is it, level 40 or 30, you go into arena. You can spend some time right at like level, say it's 30, so you spend a bunch of time right at level 29 just building up your crystals and building up your characters, but not trying not to level up. And then you can kind of go into arena even as free to play with, like, all these 5, 6, 7 star characters, and then head right in and be up at the top of your arena right away, and with folks who haven't been playing as long as you.
Good work. Good idea. Smart.
Okay.
Smart playing.
All right. All right. Next question for Warrior. This is from Alchie Dumpling. Hey, Alchie. Which Wampa Zeta is better to do first for Arena?
Well, so he has a first unique and a second unique. The first unique.
It's a she. It's a she. Don't. It's a she. She'll kung fu fight you.
He's talking about Wampa.
She will
Talking about Wampa. Chill out. Relax.
God. Okay. I was just trying to protect Warrior.
How dare you
He's
assume
got
Wampa?
first and second. The second one adds all the additional offense and stuff. The first one does the healing, the healing immunity. And so I would do the second one only. That's the one that's most important
For Arena, right?
Yep, for everything.
For everything. When would you do the other one? Do you need the other one then? Or?
I still haven't. I don't find it as essential. I mean, Zetas are really, really hard to get. I have like 41 or 42 Zetas in the game. Like I've got a record number. I think I have the highest in the game, like I mentioned last week, and I still don't find a priority on that. If you're sitting at 10 or 15 Zetas, that's not one of those that I would put in your top 10 to-do list.
Interesting. Okay. Next question for Team Money GA. Ancient Farmer has a question. He says, what are the best teams for each phase of the Sith Heroic?
All right. Well, what you need, if you don't know that off the bat, is the Sith Triumphant Raid Guide that was created by Annex, and a bunch of other folks have contributed to it. Annex from Alliance Oro. Can I have that on hand here somewhere? We'll paste a link to it in the RSG Discord. But he basically goes through and has, I think this is actually right in the document now. It's a Heroic Sith Raid readiness check. Pardon me, for your guild. And it's a little spreadsheet, and you can go in and say how many teams you have, what the minimum goal is for your Jedi Ray teams in phase 1, and it'll like kind of calculate out how close you are for the heroic Sith raid. You can kind of see it visually. So that's really important to do if you're planning for the heroic Sith raid, because you're wanting, like, you can show evidence to your guild of, this is why we need to farm this, and these are the priorities we'd like you guys to set. Like, we don't have enough Death Troopers to pull off the Chex Makes team for P3. We're 10 short, so who's going to volunteer to do that sort of thing? Like, you can take a really conscious approach to getting this raid on farm. I just found a guild who tackled the raid at 130 galactic power, right? So that's significant. We did it at maybe 142, something like that, and we were one of the first guilds to have it on farm at that lower GP. So now if we do have a level cap increase, if that's going to 90, then, that theoretically opens, just drops the floor on that. So it could be, guilds, once we have that time to get all the way up to level 90 and put the credits needed into our tunes to get them up there, that could drop the floor to, maybe 120, maybe even less. So that's pretty exciting to get this cool character on farm so fast. So I'm gonna read out from the Triumphant Raid Guide. So for Team 1, it's Jedi Ray, hands down. She's really, that's the one team that you really need there, and you need about, if they're nice teams, you need about 20 to 25 of them for P1. You want to save as many as you can for the beginning of P4, because it's such a slog there, and they can really help. And then phase 2, pardon me. There's a lot of, I'm just going to cough off.
You get this question's got Team Money verklempt.
Yeah, it's verklempt. I'm very excited about it. So for phase 2 again, Jedi Ray is going to pull the most out of them. I don't suggest anyone farm. I'm sorry, like Meditech and all the Phoenix lovers out there. They're just too resource intensive. It is a cool team, but I don't suggest folks farm Phoenix for the raid. But that's a great team for phase 2. There's also the Admiral Akbar team. I haven't run it yet, but good old Maurice is one of my partners in crime over at Nerf Herders. He's running it and getting solid 2%. That's Admiral Akbar, Leia, General Kenobi, Barriss, and Hermit Yoda. So you have to have Hermit Yoda at 7 stars, obviously, to do that. And then there's a whole bunch of teams. So there's a list of 10 teams here who you're going to get anywhere from 0.5 to 2%. So it's not too shabby. Then going into P3, it's really the Chex Mix team, and trying to get everybody to pull around 3% with 3 to 4% with Chex Mix. It takes a long time to set up. You have to really mod your tunes.
What is the Chex Mix team?
Sorry, what the Chex Mix team is basically, it's like a retribution team where you have CLS, Han, like a really slow, hard-hitting Han, Death Trooper, who am I missing? Chirrut, and who's my 5th?
Pow, Annie.
Pow, yeah,
Jedi
Knight Anakin. Somebody to put. You need somebody to put. You need 5 attackers basically, and someone to put offense up, preferably. And you're just putting Death Mark on Traya, and then isolating Han and getting him to just hit her back with retribution, and that's where 90% of your damage is coming from there.
Sabine works well too.
Sabine, yeah. And then for phase 4, that's the kitchen sink phase. Again, if you can save Jedi Training Ray for that phase, then it's just going to be so much easier, because it is a real slog at the beginning there. And Jedi Training Ray is so nice because there's so many specials on that team, so you can just focus on Darth Nihilus and bring his health down as quickly as possible. And Night Sisters for phase 4, of course. That's really nice. That was a long answer, but there you go. And I'll get all this stuff together and post it for you, because you can just read it and it's open information, and thankfully been handed over to our community.
How about that, eh?
Yeah.
What percentage is 2.2 million?
It's like a
For phase 2.
What percentage?
It's like
Yeah.
4.5%.
Yeah.
I hit that with a Boba lead, Wampa, Sabine, GK, and somebody else. It was fun.
Somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I'll
I don't have that one.
Yeah, I don't.
Find
What
out.
ability does somebody else have?
One.
All right, that's enough out of you, Mike. Bring in Sweary Daughter.
Yep. So.
All right. Next question. Dr. Finn Medicine Woman actually has a question. I'm shocked. This is for you, Warrior, from Dr. Finn. Dr. Finn, would you like to read this question?
I'll paraphrase.
I only think it's fitting since you are Dr.
And I'll
Finn.
paraphrase for it. So, recently we had the Bounty Hunter reveal, and it was just on Arnold's channel. And prior to that, whenever there was a release, like every Game Changer had a video out, and there was a lot of overlapping content. So, just as a Game Changer, I'm curious about Warrior's thoughts. Do you prefer that each Game Changer kind of has their own video about specific content and you rotate through, or do you prefer that like you still get the content, and like people that like your videos or Arnold's videos or Mobile Gamers or whoever else's, they get to watch all that content from yours rather than just having one focus?
Well, so I'm not going to have a very popular opinion when it comes to other Game Changers, because I know their opinions. Game Changers want equal access. Equal access means everybody gets the same information, and we all flood YouTube with 20 videos that are nearly identical. I'm not a fan of that. I actually chose not to make a video yesterday. I could have, or a couple days ago. I could have made a video, and it would have covered about half of what was known, and it would have been a video. I would have got views. I would make some money, and it would have been my spin on things. And yeah, patrons and other viewers want to see my spin on things, but I knew there was going to be 20 people doing these half videos with like half the information, and then Arnold's was going to have all of it. And I'm actually happy that they're choosing the rotation. Where I will not be happy is if I never get put in that rotation. Then I will be upset, because if they're really truly going to rotate, then let's rotate and everybody gets their fair opportunity. I mean, think about it. If there's exclusive information coming out on somebody's channel and they've got 1,000 subs, they might have a video that they get 100,000 views on that they've never gotten more than 10,000 views on a video. So it could be a really good thing for a Game Changers channel. For someone like Arnold, obviously he's got 60,000 subs and you got 100,000 views, which is uncommon. I don't think it helped him as much as it would help some of the smaller Game Changers, but for someone like me, it would be nice if there was a exclusive character coming into the game where I could get the exclusive video on it and be able to do that video, and everybody else has to wait until after my video to start putting out their kind of secondary videos on the information. It would be nice to have that exclusivity. So for me, I'm not opposed to it. I think it's cool. I like it. I have no problems with how they did it, and I'm happy for Arnold that he got the exclusive. And I just, like I said, the only way I would be jaded by this whole process is if I wasn't put in that rotation.
Well said indeed. All right. Look and see if there's any more questions coming in. Man, we've been going out in Fast and Furious. Wow, they're done that many questions? Jeez.
Hermit Yoda.
What about him?
He was someone else.
Oh, he was someone else.
Yeah.
You remember he was Hermit Yoda?
Yeah, I forgot that it was my first run with Hermit Yoda in Sith Raid.
That's kind of an important someone else.
Well, Monsters Inc. was in there, and he grabbed all my attention.
Somebody else. Remember? It wasn't that important.
No.
It sounds like it kind of was, Mike.
Yeah, it's the Bond King himself.
I'm farming the hell out of Hermit Yoda because I think that little green frog is.
I am 2 shards from unlocked.
I've got him unlocked
8
now.
from 7 star.
Yeah, I've got it. You got him 7 stars,
I'm 8 away from 7 stars.
Oh.
Yeah.
This next territory battle, I'm going to get him unlocked, and we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, I'm already working. He's already gear 9, but yeah. Now it's like getting the shards to get him to gear, or to get him to 7. It's like, oh, jeez. You end one journey and then the other one just begins. You're like, oh, snap.
Now, Ranger, did you unlock both, or was Yoda the first?
No, he's the first one and the only priority. I'm going to get him to 7 stars. I mean, I like Wampa. I think he's a great character, but for the raid and everything else, I'm going to get Hermit Yoda to 7 stars because you can't use him in the raid without him being 7 stars. So I'm not going to stop and go unlock Wampa. And then, and I'm fine in territory battles and other things with the teams I have. I don't really need Wampa. He just would be a really nice piece to have. So I'm going to go all in on Yoda, get him to 7 stars and everything, and then be done with them. Then the only 2 characters in the game that I won't have unlocked will be, of course, Treya, which we're knocking out Heroic Sith Ray, so she'll eventually come, and then Wampa, which I can always go back and farm the snot out of him and get him unlocked. So that's really all it is.
I put mine on hold and maxed Wampa. I must admit, since getting them both 7 star, I think I've deployed like 4, maybe 5 gear 12 pieces now, which is, I'm kind of now starting to catch up with everyone that went the gear route rather than the characters.
Yeah, it's it's a little bit of a sacrifice because there's some gear 12 pieces and stuff that I could be farming out of there, but I just think it's a good investment in the long term to have Hermit Yoda and Wampa and stuff like that.
I totally agree with you. I sacrificed my gear 12. I was literally at the will of RNG. On what dropped from rewards. because I was, I would be
Yeah,
patient.
see,
I'd sit on the
yeah.
credits and just wait for the shards.
Yeah, and the thing is too, I am blessed that I'm in a great guild that we are farming all the territory battles and everything else, that I'm getting gear 12 pieces in other areas, so I'm not too hurt by doing it this way. But I can see players out there that are not where I'm at having to. That's a tough choice. I
It
bet
is,
it's a
because
huge
there's
tough choice.
so many great items in there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That, yeah.
It's a tough choice. Oh, is that swear, daughter? You tell her to be quiet.
It was.
No. No.
Dun,
Mute
Jaws
her.
music starts.
Mute her.
Stop
her. Someone tackle her. We can hear her presence in the background. Stop the madness. Okay. Well, I think that is all the questions we have right now. I'm looking. Is that it, Finn?
I think there's a couple of fun questions I
There
saw.
are fun questions, but there's. Okay, I got it now. Okay, got it now. To you, Mike. Question: Is Hoda's do or do not unique Zeta necessary for Phase 2 heroic, and why?
Ooh, which one's that? I know I've done one of them.
This is the something other character. Yeah, see if you can remember.
Yeah. Where is he? Hermit. There he is. Which one have I done? No, I don't know. I did strength flows from the Force. I haven't done the do or do not yet. Whenever an ally is defeated, Yoda's cooldowns are reset. I can go. He's a great character. I'm going to be diplomatic here and say that he'll benefit from both.
Do you think the other one's more important than do or do not?
I do. I went for that one. That one just seemed to keep them going for that bit longer. That's the one for me anyway. That just seemed to it allowed 2.2 million, which seems to be a reasonable score for Phase 2.
That's a good score.
And of course, it's not a single character from a JTR squad.
Are you running the Admiral Akbar team or?
If I recall, I tried it. It really, I couldn't. I was rushing because, of course, the thing is that now that we're on farm, you don't get long at each phase. So I kind of I don't have the luxury of trying time and time again and nailing it all down. So it's a bit of a rush job. But the Akbar one didn't seem to work as well for me. But the Boba, I suppose the other part of it is that I like Boba. I mean, when he was reworked many months ago, I maxed him and chucked him immediately into arena. So the opportunity of actually using him somewhere now that we sim credit heist was too good to miss.
All right.
So who's your team then, Mike? Who's your P2 team?
It's Boba. Hang on. Boba, Mr. Beardy, Sabine, Wampa.
Hermit
Yoda.
Hermit Yoda.
Yeah.
Somebody else.
My Wampa scored 1.7 million.
Cool.
Jeez. All right.
Yeah.
So let's get to some fun questions. There's actually some good fun questions here. This is from Grim Crusade, and this is around the corn. We'll start with you, Warrior. What made you become a fan of Star Wars, and what are your expectations for Solo? It's a good question.
What are my what of Star Wars?
What made you become a fan of Star Wars, and what are your expectations for the upcoming movie Solo?
So with Solo, I'm happy because it's a story that's never been told before, and we know kind of the basics of Solo and kind of who he is. So they get more creative license to kind of do what they want, and people will be less upset because as long as they kind of stay true to his character profile, they can basically do whatever they want, and it will be fun. And dashing in with some of the older characters and stuff, so it'll be good times. I think the movie will be fine. I think it'll be more in line with like a Rogue One. Like I said, Rogue One again had more creative license. It was, the end was part of a story we knew, but the rest of it was something that hadn't been told before. So I feel like a Solo movie is going to be similar in nature. So it'll be good. I think it won't be as good as Rogue One. I think Rogue One was awesome, but I think it'll be good. I think it'll be way better than the last inline Skywalker trilogy story. And then as far as the Star Wars fan, uh, I I mean I was born in the late '70s when Star Wars came out, and I was raised in the '80s when Star Wars was popular and the other movies were coming out, and it's just one of those things that was a generational thing. We were all really into it, and I guess what rekindled it was my kids, starting to grow up. Everything's cyclic. Something that's popular 20 years ago becomes popular again 20 years later. I look at the clothing and shoes and things. It's just funny to see how things get like in style, then they suck, nobody likes them, and then they go out of style, and then 20 years later they're like, look at this, it's the coolest thing, and it's like, bell bottoms. You're like, oh, okay. So it's just fun to watch cyclic nature. Star Wars has been very cyclic in nature. They, had their fame kind of, and then about 10 years later in the 90s, they kind of had another spurt, although that wasn't a very good one. And then again, in the last 10 years, they've had some movies coming out. And so again, my kids, of course, wanting to see it because they know that it's Star Wars and that I like it, so they want to see it. But then seeing the joy in them and enjoying the storylines and them enjoying the movies really rekindled it. And then, of course, this game comes out and you download it and play it. And it's a collectible game where you get all your favorite characters. So, of course, it's fun to be able to, collect the universe and have it in the palm of your hand.
What about you, Team Money?
I just figured out what I'm having problems with the Han Solo actor. And I just like in all the previews, I'm just like, it's not Han, it's not. And I just realized what it is. He is not scruffy looking enough. He's not nearly scruffy. He's got like this close cut little, like,
Well, he was younger.
Yeah, but it goes the other way. Like, you should become less scruffy looking as you get older, no? Like, he should be the most scruffy looking. Like, I'm just like, yeah, he needs to have like long hair and, blown in the wind, not this like gelled up, crew cut thing that's happening. So I'm having a problem with that aesthetically already in the previews. But my hope is that it's funny, like that's, Han is comic relief, and that kind of the character of the movies to a great extent for me, and so I'm hoping that I'm going to be sad if it's not really like punchy and funny, and I'm hoping like for great dynamics between the characters and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, I just figured I'm like, that's what it is. Like, there's a bunch of, you go online and search, I don't know how to say his last name, Alden Ehrenreich. Right. And or just like Han Solo cast, new Han Solo movie actor. There's a bunch of side by sides with him and Han, and he actually like physically looks like Harrison Ford. Like their facial features are quite similar, but it's just like he's just not scruffy looking enough.
Oh, jeez. What about you, Mike?
I was thinking about it. I was 10 years old, and taken to the cinema to see, was it A New Hope? What is it? Which one's the
New
that
Hope,
sounds awful.
It was just Star Wars.
Yep, that was the one. And
Star Wars.
The opening scene with the Organa ship, and then the huge Star Chaser, whatever it is, Star Destroyer, chasing after it, and just how long it went on and on and on for, blew me away, and that was it. Hooked. Loved it. As for the Solo, no, I agree that it needs the humor. It needs that.
Well, it'll be directed by Ron Howard. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's done some awesome movies. He's done some awful ones as well, but yeah.
Well, I can't really. Film's subjective, but I'd say 90% of his films I've been like, oh, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. I was shocked to find that he did Backdraft.
Yeah, I love
that was an awesome. That was yeah.
King Felix, you?
So, I'm a little bit younger than I think some of the people here in this group. So I didn't get to see any of the original trilogy in theaters. But the first movie my parents ever bought for me was a VHS of A New Hope. And
King, what's that noise in the background for you, buddy?
I don't know.
Shaving or what is that?
Oh, it might be the fan on my laptop. Is that better?
Yeah.
My laptop's a cheap piece of crap. But right. So I got the VHS for A New Hope for my first movie of all time. My dog chewed up the box a little bit, but I still have it, 20 years later. And watching that, I remember I didn't get to see Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi for several years after that. So I just kept watching A New Hope over and over and over again, watching Vader kill old Ben over and over and over. So I love that. And then I didn't really pay attention to Star Wars all that much after the prequels. I didn't play too many of the games. But then when they brought the new trilogy out with The Force Awakens, I got back into it, and me and my wife saw that movie in theaters like 4 times. So after that came out, I kind of got back into Star Wars. I found this game, and it just has kind of spiraled uphill or downhill, depending on your opinion, from there. And then for Solo, I was very worried at first, because you heard all the stories about the problems with the director and the story and all this stuff, and I was very worried that the movie was going to be a disaster and eventually get canceled. But I have faith in Ron Howard, and I want a sarcastic, criminal type of movie to come from.
Yeah, this is going to be a gangster film.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I want. I want some Star Wars gangster criminal action with a ton of sarcasm. And I'm excited for Emilia Clarke's part, because I think more than Han Solo, I think she'll probably make or break the film. And then plus they got Woody Harrelson in that movie, and he's one of my favorite actors.
Mm-hmm.
I love Woody Harrelson, so I'm pretty excited for it. I know it comes out in about a month, I think, or maybe even less. I don't really remember anymore, but I'm excited for it. And if it's anything like Rogue One, I'll love it.
Okay.
I think Woody Harrelson is scruffy enough for T-Money's liking. Based on
there you go. There's a scruffiness.
He certainly is.
That's right.
And Danny Glover. Let's not forget
there you
Danny
go.
Glover. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that.
Okay.
That young man.
All right. Clone Cobra has a question. How much do you enjoy sniping people at their payout when they're not nice?
A lot.
I like to do it a lot.
When they do it to me, I will waste 100 crystals on replay.
Oh yeah, I've punished people before. Like, get the message, buddy.
That's how I first got invited to my arena shard, because I spent 300 crystals a day just to stay at number 1 the whole day.
Revenator question. Now that Arnold was pictured in game, when can we expect to get an 8-star Grand Admiral Arnold T-101? Not a trap. Don't think that'll be happening, but it'd be kind of funny. You see, they did a Sith Warrior and it's Warrior. That's a Sith Warrior. With all Navy SEAL.
Warrior,
Who's
is it
more
a
likely
secret?
to go into a hard node, Warrior or Arnold?
I'm curious, Warrior. It may not be a secret afterwards if you reveal it, but is it a secret hope of yours that somehow you get into the game as a character?
No, that would be weird. That would be weird. It's Star Wars. It's not Fantasy Wars. So
Right.
He'd be like Hermit Yoda. He doesn't have an attack. He just gives a lot of good advice to the character.
No, you should probably use your basic right now.
You should probably do this. You should probably farm that guy. Don't farm him. He's terrible.
Is Warrior doing it? Is it worth it on himself?
Millions of voices just cried out. The tour. When will we be hearing Finn's excellent voice? I think we've heard it a few times today, right?
I'm assuming he's
Singing
referring to the singing. And
The
TM.
singing. Yes, soon TM. Have y'all picked a skit or a song yet?
I have everything figured out with Crazy. I just need time to record it. I'm hoping to do it next week.
Oh Lord.
I do Waterfalls by TLC.
I was wondering if it'd be a Patsy Cline song.
Oh no, we don't know.
Dolly Parton.
I think you will. I think you'll enjoy what will be.
Apparently it's Donald Glover, by the way, not Danny Glover.
Crazy.
Yeah, Danny Glover's the older one.
Yeah, I was going to say he's too old for this shit in Lethal Weapon, isn't he?
And yeah, I think what Crazy and I are working on, you'll enjoy when it comes out.
Oh, we're all waiting on bated breath.
Is it going to be on MTV?
No.
If we get lucky. Although
Yeah.
MTV really doesn't do much with music anymore. It's
No,
all
they
about like
don't.
16 and pregnant and catfishing.
No, it's from 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. You're not up at those times?
No.
No.
I don't even stay up for our own streams at night. What the hell? I'm not
That's
staying up for that.
That's the only time they play music is in the middle of the damn night.
Lord. All right, Danilo Papayas question for me. Ranger, do you shave your head yourself? If you do, any advice? Well, yeah, I do. And the best thing I can tell you is that I always take a really hot shower before I shave my head, just because it opens up your pore, makes it easier to shave. If you're not going to do that, then what you need to do is take a very hot towel. And I do this when I shave if I'm not taking a shower and just put it everywhere. It just makes it easy to shave right off. And make sure you use a very sharp razor. And yeah, it's not rocket science. If you can shave your face, you can shave your head. It's no different. Comb Cobra, last fun question. Who'd win a tag team wrestling match between Ranger T Money and Warrior and Mike?
I'm insulted you even have to ask that question. Come on.
Of course that would be us. Mike and I would word. Yeah!
Listen here, brother. Me and T Money are
Money's
going
too
there,
mean.
and we're gonna rock the world, brother.
Do the
I'd just be like, ow,
Scion Hulk
ow, ow,
explosion.
and then I'd sucker punch him. That's what would happen. I'm a dirty fighter.
Yeah, she plays
Dirty,
as
dirty
Warrior.
fighter.
The correct answer was in the chat. The viewers.
Oh God, I've just had a vision of Borat. I can't unthink that now. Oh no.
Oh my god. All right, so those are all the questions for today. We had a little bit of a shorter one, but we got through a lot of questions. So hey, more questions in a short amount of time. Hey, we're getting better at what we're doing. But this is the time of the time of the show where we allow everyone to pimp their stuff. I'll just go from the top and work our way down. Warrior, where can the good folks check you out at, buddy?
So they can obviously check me out on YouTube at Warrior Presents or Warriors Roster Reviews. Both of them are custom murals, so you just go to YouTube and / either one of those. So Warrior Presents. I have it as Warrior Presents, and I changed it a year ago to that because I'm not going to be exclusive to Star Wars. Never planned on it from the very beginning. I happened to be only Star Wars over the last year, but I do plan on covering other things and or the channel. I have this week put out 2 videos on the new Marvel Strike Force video or a game, and it is similar to Star Wars. And so if you like the Marvel universe, you might have some fun with those videos. I do not claim to be an expert of that game yet at all. I'm still learning myself the intricacies of battle and all of that. But so far, it's been super fun, and you can just keep checking me out on YouTube, and I'll keep doing Star Wars Galaxy Heroes videos as well.
Okay. T Money, where can the good folks check you out, eh?
Well, I'm a few places. In tonight, we're going tonight, right, Ranger?
Yes, we're going to do some KOTOR.
Are you gonna hum?
That's not me. That's Pearly Sage.
You can't hum again all night, all right?
It wasn't me.
Who was it?
I just said it was Sage.
Oh, okay. So Saturday nights, Ranger invites me on to the RSG Mature channel, and we are silly on there. And sometimes we do. It's a complete toss up. Either there's going to be like a whole mess of game content happening, or it's just going to be us being silly, making Mad Libs, having fun with each other, enjoying our community. And then on Thursday nights, I co-host the League of Extraordinary Nerf Herders with and Grand Admiral Teals, Darth Bob, and good old Maurice. This past week we had on Urban Blaster. That was so much fun. Were you jealous? You were jealous, weren't you, Ranger?
Why? I've had him on lots of times.
Yeah, but...
But what?
You know, I don't know.
I don't know, Urban. He's a grown man. He can do what he wants.
I have a little crush on Urban. That's all. I'm feeling possessive.
Well, I don't, so I'm...
Yeah, you do. Liar.
No,
liar,
I don't. Now, Warrior might have a man crush on the old Assassin Master.
So Urban Blaster has really invested in his bounty hunters, and we went through the kits of all of them, and just it was probably like 50-50 fun and then some delving deep into the bounty hunter kits and just theorizing what's coming with regards to the reworks for each of the OG bounty hunters there. So that's what was last week. I'm working currently on trying to get, I think it might be the lowest GP guild in the galaxy who's finished the Heroic Sith raid. They did 130 million GP, and I was talking to the fella online, and they've got all these nice little spreadsheets and just a really cool approach. So I'm really dedicated to helping as many guilds as possible get this raid on farm, because I do think it's accessible. If you've got the right participation levels in your guild. So I think that'll come soon. I don't know if it's next week. I haven't pitched that to to the co-hosts, but that might be coming. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. Mike, where can people check you out?
I've got a YouTube channel, Mike Hunt SWGOH. I went old school for me this week. And ran a Nihilus lead. The very first composition in my arena part of the auto selecting the squads or whatever, the presets, which I didn't realize has a maximum limit on it. You can only put 200 in, and then you have to start deleting them. But yes, I have that channel. And there's videos on it. Please come and have a look.
Absolutely. And King Felix, what's the count, buddy?
About 30 days.
So 29 and a wake up?
Well, I mean, it's what, 30 minutes after midnight here? So I guess you call it a wake up. It's not going to be much of a sleep. So, but next month I'll be in America, and I want to stay up all damn night to do these streams, and I can hop on maybe some of the lunch streams sometimes. So
do some Battlefront.
Well, I don't have an Xbox, but we'll see what happens.
Well, let's see what happens. We'll see. All right, and if you're watching this, and it means you're watching the RSG channel, that means you're watching Jedi Academy. We do this every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. or when we get done. Sometimes we get done early, sometimes we run over late, depends on the week and the amount of questions we got. But thank you, everybody, for the chat, for being here and participating. If you'd like to learn when we're doing more streams, all you have to do is subscribe, and not just for us, subscribe to all these other great channels. They take the time out of their busy schedules or their busy life to come here at the good gracious of their hearts to answer your questions and to support you guys with their knowledge. It only behooves you to, at least support them by giving thumbs up on their videos and subscribing, and do the same thing for us. It really helps the channel grow, helps us stay out of the air, helps support us, and keep putting out the great content that you guys enjoy and love. If you're listening to this afterwards, you can listen to us on YouTube. You can go back on YouTube and watch the chat and everything. They've got that nice new function. Or if you'd like to download this and listen to it when you want to, then you can go to iTunes Store and download us as a podcast for RSG. Tonight we will be doing the mature channel stuff. We'll do some KOTOR, we'll do some Battlefront, we'll answer all your Star Wars Galaxy Heroes questions. We'll just hang out, drink, have a good time. T Money will do her Mad Lib. She'll play her ukulele. You never know what's going to happen on the RSG mature side. It's craziness. And then next week, again, Monday through Friday, we'll be doing the lunch hour stream from 12 to 1. We've been doing roster reviews. We've been answering your questions. This is a nice little break to your day from 12 to 1, where we just kind of hang out with you great folks and answer your questions. Every Wednesday night from 8 p.m. Eastern on to whenever we get done is the RSG SWGOH weekly show, where we break down all the news and notes to Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, have a lot of great guests on, and break it down and tell you what it all means. It's been a lot of stuff coming out, and we've been all over it. Sometimes we do special streams like we did Thursday. So the best way to know is just you subscribe. We've been doing some other fun stuff. Finn's been doing some Pixar and playing Battlefront 2 on PC. I've been doing a lot of Battlefront on Xbox and streaming that. So there's all kinds of great content for gamers out there. So if you like it, make sure you follow us. So that being said, I'd like to thank my panel of Warrior, Team Money G, Mike, and of course King Felix, and of course Dr. Finn, Medicine Woman, who picked up the slack because I had an awful headache last night, and for some reason my alarm didn't go off, or I didn't hear it. I don't know what happened, so I apologize. Oh, real quick, Team Money, I'm getting a gajillion questions about this. When is this goddess thing happening?
So I had to cancel. I had some real life stuff come up.
Yeah,
this
I got
weekend.
yelled at, by the way, for that.
Good. From who?
Everybody.
So we're gonna go. I'm hoping because I really want Crazy to be on there because she's repping, right? She's repping our gamer chickness out there in as a game changer, and so hopefully next Friday, and I think we're gonna pull it onto RSG because. I think it'll get more views, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. We've got we had about 8 women confirmed to be on, and lots of YouTubers, and almost everyone is either an officer or a guild leader. So we're gonna talk about the game and also about just managing the game, managing the community. A lot of really great growing guilds. So yeah. So next Friday. Let's just say next Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on RSG. Let's just make that leap.
All right. We'll wait on bated breath. All right. So that's our show for today. Thanks to everybody for being here. We'll check you out later on. I'm going to do Battlefront. I think about 5 p.m. Eastern, I'll start doing the Battlefront stream. We'll stream that for about 4 or 5 hours, and then we'll go into the RSG Mature stream. We'll do some KOTOR. I've been getting a lot of requests for that. Team Money, you're gonna participate in the damn KOTOR thing. I bought the damn game because you want me to get. We're gonna learn about Revan. Damn it!
How do you want me to participate in this?
Well, you're gonna make all the decisions for the character.
Okay. Can I also read them out in my
Yes, and your power voice. Okay. So we'll do that for tonight, so stay tuned for that. So everyone have a great rest of your weekend if we don't hear back from you, and take care, and we will holler at you later. Peace.